Here we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back here to Team Swartz. Welcome to my very first Guard X or Guard experience. So while everyone's tuning in here, I'm gonna put out some basic information. All right, before we get started, the Guard X or the Guard experience is essentially a presentation that I will be presenting to you guys briefly on who we are, what we do, what we have to offer you, basically like the top few reasons that someone would want to check out the Army National Guard and why you might want to explore that opportunity. It's just an opportunity. It's not the one, the one and only or the end all be all. It is one great opportunity. Any component of the Army or branch of the military is an excellent and phenomenal option. Tonight's stream, unlike previous my normally regularly scheduled live streams, this one is going to be specifically about the Army National Guard. I'm going hard. All right, I'm going ham about the Army National Guard, so bear with me. Those of you just tuning in for the very first time now, my name is Sergeant First Class Swartz. I am a full-time recruiter and a part-time drill sergeant here for the New York Army National Guard. I am conveniently located in Midtown Manhattan, across the street from Baruch College. All right. So with the Guard experience, I have about 8 or 9 different soldiers that are tuning in tonight that will be sharing their experience as a National Guard soldier here in the New York Army National Guard. All have different MOSs. So I'm going to have Staff Sergeant Sainville. He's my 11 Bravo infantry soldier. I'm going to have PFC Sabarzo. He's my carpentry MOS guy, right? Sabarzo is the basically an engineer, all right? Then you have Staff Sergeant Shabelli. She is a 13 Bravo Canine crew member with the Field Artillery. I got Specialist Jimenez coming on here shortly as a 25 Bravo Information Technology Specialist. Then we have PFC Casado. He is our 35 Foxtrot Military Intelligence. The Specialist Abrar, he's our 68 Whiskey Combat Medic / Healthcare Specialist. I'm going to have Specialist Baramov. He's our 88 Mike truck driver or motor transport specialist. We got Specialist Halu, which is our 91 Bravo light wheel vehicle mechanic. And then we have Specialist Lau as a 92 Golf culinary specialist. So in a moment, I'm going to be bringing them on, and they're going to briefly talk about their rank, how long they've been in, why they joined, if the Army National Guard has done something amazing in their life, and whatever they want to briefly talk about. And then we're going to open it up to a Q&A session where anything you want to ask about the Army National Guard, like the day in the life of the day in the life in the Guard on a drill weekend, what it's like being a full-time civilian and as a part-time soldier. So you get to ask them firsthand instead of me telling you about what my experience was many moons ago before I became a recruiter. So I haven't been a regular M-Day part-time soldier in the Guard for a very long time. So that's another reason why I brought everyone here to share their experiences. So with that being said, now that I got my intro out of the way, let me add my banner here while I'm talking. And let's see. So who are we? We are citizen soldiers, and this is a reserve component of the Army. We are part-time, serving at least 1 weekend per month and 1 weekend per month and 2 weeks out of the year, usually around the summertime. Occasionally, it could be a 3-week annual training. That's what we call our summer and AT, right? And typically those 3 weeks are if you're going overseas to like Africa, Germany, Puerto Rico, so on and so forth for your annual training. So with that being said, it affords you the opportunity to be a full-time civilian, whether you're going to school full-time or part-time, working full-time or part-time, or the combination of thereof. It's extremely flexible. So what do we do? The Army National Guard, unlike other components of the Army or other branches of the military, we have a dual mission, meaning that we have the same federal mission as the rest of the military, where we could be called upon by the president when he or she wants to activate us for a federal mission overseas, whether that's assisting for humanitarian missions, peacekeeping missions, and obviously combat missions. We as recruiters cannot promise you that you will or will not be sent overseas. It is a reality. Normally I tug on my uniform when I'm talking about this, but you're a soldier first, and then whatever it is that your job is, right? And for deployments overseas, you're going to know at least 3 years in advance verbally if your unit is possibly on the chopping block for a potential deployment. Once your unit receives the official warning order, you and your unit will have 1 full year to prepare yourself mentally and physically for that deployment to go overseas. Some states, New York Army National Guard is no longer participating in it, but some states are still participating in the College First program. If you are in one of those states and you're tuned in from another state, ask your guard recruiter if that state is participating in it, because that will give you at least a stabilization period for 2 years once you graduate from AIT to knock out 2 years worth of college before you could be eligible to deploy overseas. What makes the Army National Guard different and unique is that we are the only component of the Army or a branch of the military that has more responsibility than any other branch of the military, meaning that we have a state mission. Our governor is our commander in chief for all state missions when we're not activated by the president for federal missions. So anything that happens within our borders of our respective states or U.S. territories, we could be called upon to do everything but not limited to filling up sandbags, conducting search and rescue missions, deliver food, water, supplies, personnel, or equipment, right? Anything that the governor deems necessary, that's what we're going to be called upon, whether it's reacting to natural disasters, state emergencies, COVID missions we had going on since day zero, right? We're actively engaged in our communities every single day, all year round, waiting. We're always ready and we're always there, as we all like to say in the Guard, right? So anything that the governor deems necessary, we're there. Okay. Civil unrests, you name it. Okay. The Guard, has a lot of responsibility compared to others. So when a snowstorm comes, reservists and all that stuff, they all go home. Guard members, the ones that are activated for possible state activation, will report to the respective armories and wait for further orders or instructions to assist our states in times of need. That is a major difference. So that could be a pro or a con, depending on what your needs, wants, and desires are when you're exploring the opportunities of joining the military part-time. Okay. So everyone has their why to why they joined. I joined because I was a volunteer firefighter for my local town in upstate New York, technically downstate, but north of the city. So I like helping out my community in times of need. And that was my primary motivation and drive to become a part-time soldier in the Army, specifically the New York Army National Guard. It was initially going to be a stepping stone to eventually go active duty, because I was reluctant to commit my life for 3 years to an organization that I can't just put in my 2-week notice and be like, deuces, I'm out, I quit. You can't do that, right? So I tested out the National Guard, fell in love with it, and I just like taking care of soldiers, which ultimately down the road led me into being and becoming a recruiter for the Army National Guard. I've been recruiting for over 17 years. I have 20 years so far in the Army National Guard, been straight up Guard the entire time, and I love it. You don't stay in recruiting this long if you don't love it. So with that being said, that is my story. That is a quick why for me, and the National Guard has done a lot for me. So let's go over the eligibility standards real quick, and then some of the top reasons one may want to consider checking out and exploring the Army National Guard. You must be between the ages of 17 up to your 35th birthday. If you are 17 years old, a high school junior, on track to graduate on time, you can explore joining with your state, right? And can possibly do the split training option, but that's going to warrant your parent or parents, if they're legally together or have joint custody or whatnot, get a parental consent to conduct a medical exam. Now, the age cutoff is 35 years old with no waivers being required. If you're 35 years old and more than a day older than that, you're going to require an age exception to policy. Now, up to 40, over 95% of those age waivers are getting approved. After 40, no later than 42nd birthday, it has to be for a meritorious reason, like extremely meritorious for them to approve it. Very few are actually getting approved at this point, right? You have to be in good general health. You cannot have any major medical issues, can't have asthma, any life-threatening allergies, certain conditions like ADD, ADHD, if you're currently on medication for it, and you still have those types of symptoms, is gonna, like, those types of things are going to significantly disqualify you from service. So depending on your condition, that's why it's very important that you have a very honest conversation with your recruiter to disclose your medical history. We had this new thing at MEPS called MROAD, where MEPS now has authorization and the ability to pull up your medical prescription history for the past 7 years. Not your medical history, but your prescription history for the past 7 years. So if you're trying to, hide ADD or ADHD from the past, or maybe you're on medication for it now and you want to try to lie to get in, it's not going to work. All right. They're going to see your medical prescription history, not your medical history, but your prescription history. So just keep in mind that that's a new thing. Okay. It's not going to stop or hinder recruiters recruiting, or most applicants that get in. That's like onesies and twosies. It's not the norm for people that have those types of issues, but just have that conversation with your recruiter, right? We're looking for ADD, ADHD, law violations. If you've ever been arrested, handcuffed, fingerprinted, stood before a judge, issued a ticket, a citations, or a summons, regardless if it was sealed or dismissed, stricken from record, had it expunged from your record, whatnot. Anytime that you had an issue with the law, we need to know about it. Now, if you do have minor infractions, then sometimes waivers can be entertained, but your recruiter will look into the regulation once we get the actual documentation that we need to determine your eligibility. Waivers can also be entertained for medical issues, minor medical issues. If you got like an astigmatism, there's like a plethora of different things that could possibly disqualify you at MEPS. So just have that honest conversation with your recruiter. If your prior service, you've previously served in the military and you're out, right? Or maybe you've started the process with a recruiter from another branch of service, we're going to have to do a spiff change, which means changing your ownership of your basic information from one component of the Army or branch of military and pull it over to us so we can continue to process you. So we're going to be asking you if your prior service or started the process with somebody else. Okay. Additionally, from there, we're going to ask you if you have a high school diploma, a GED. If you don't have either one of those, we're going to ask you if you have a foreign credential, educational credential from another country, if you're a foreigner. If you have 675 clock hours from a trade school like Job Corps or something equivalent, those things could be used in lieu of a GED or a high school diploma. If not, if you have 15 college credits and you're enrolled in a program where you earn a 2-year degree and a GED, and you've earned 15 or more college credits, we could also use that in lieu of a high school diploma, right? We're going to ask you about your marital status. Are you married? Are you divorced? Do you have any kids, dependents under the age of 18 that live with you that are dependent on you financially? Are you a U.S. citizen or a green card holder? You have to be at least a citizen or a green card holder. If you have a temporary green card, or a conditional green card, rather, is the proper term, and it's a 2-year green card, you have to have a ship date that will provide you at least 6 months from the date that you ship out to basic training in order to be able to sign your contract and go to training. Okay. That is the minimum standard currently as we speak. So that's pretty much the minimum standards to joining the military. And like I said, there are waivers that could be entertained. Doesn't mean that just because we can submit a waiver doesn't mean that it's going to get approved. So we're going to do our best to get you in. If we identify a disqualification, that means you are not eligible to join, and we're going to have to get you qualified to join from there. So that's the eligibility standard. Some of the reasons why you should check out the National Guard with your local recruiter. If you're in New York City, this guy right here, all right, numbers on the screen somewhere. So the federal tuition, whether you're Guard or Reserve, is the same, which is $4,000 per year that you can use towards your tuition. Now, I'm not sure if you're going to go as a full-time college student or part-time, but that's not even enough to pay a community college or a CUNY college here in New York City for one semester. So the advantage that the Army National Guard has over the Army Reserve is the fact that we have state benefits in addition to our federal benefits because of our unique dual mission, like I previously described earlier in the stream. So as long as you go to any CUNY or SUNY college, meaning community or state college university, we're paying 100% of your tuition fees. That means 100%. So we pay at the end once we get verification that all your classes have been, that you've passed all your classes essentially, because we're not going to pay for failure. If you received financial aid or grants or anything like that, whatever dollar amount that your school received, we're going to pick up the tab at the end, and they are going to cut you a check out for that whole dollar amount and reimburse you that amount to you, giving you and putting more money into your pocket. That is the advantage that the guard has over the reserve. The only time I will ever tell you or anyone else to explore the guard over the reserve is if you want to maximize the monetary gains to pay for college. Outside of that, to each its own. Do your homework, do your research, and choose the component that is best for you and your reasons alone. All right. Don't let any recruiter tell you that the guard is better or the reserve is better. You have to figure out what your why is, how they're going to help you reach your goals. All right. I've never been that type of recruiter to tell you that you have to go guard. We got one individual in here right now. He's got a screen off right now because his phone is charging. I told him that he should go to the Marine Corps. He'll probably even share that story with you. All right. That's the type of recruiter I am. All right. I'll let him share that story. But with that being said, join for your reasons and your reasons alone. So then we have the scholarship program called the GI Bill. As long as you sign up for 6 or more years, it'll give you $407 per month, tax-free, direct deposit into your bank account for every month that you're in college full-time for taking 12 or more credits. If eligible, there are other incentives for education that you could qualify for based on your MOS and your unit that you're in, okay? Which is the GI Bill kicker, which it could be up to another $350 per month in scholarship that you can get every month to pay and offset other additional school fees like your application fees, books, room and board. That money, the scholarship program, could be applied to that. Our tuition money goes directly to the school, so you don't even see that. Then we have the student loan repayment program. So we'll pay up to student loans up to $50,000 for a 6 or 8 year contract. A 6-year contract will pay up to $45,000, and up to 8 years to pay up to $50,000 in pre-existing federal student loans that are in good standing or in default. I mean, not default, deferred. If they are in default, we will not pay for loans that you are not in good standings with, if that makes sense. Right. So then we have the bonus, possibly. Right. So if your unit is not over 100% strength and your MOS is one of the top 10 critical skills assigned for your state, you could potentially get up to $20,000 as part of an enlistment bonus. Okay. If you're in the New York City area, a lot of the units are over strength. But if you are shipping out to Army basic training between October 1st and May 1st or May 15th, I believe it's May 15th, you can get an off-peak bonus for up to $7,500. All right. That's called our off-peak bonus. Right. So that then we have low-cost health insurance. So as an individual, this is a huge benefit for some, especially if you're prior service, you've previously served in the military. A lot of prior service individuals join the Guard or Reserve to leverage our low-cost health insurance. So as an individual, you pay $50 a month. So if you're with mom and dad and they have health insurance for you at some point when you spread your wings and you grow up, right? You're going to have to get your own health insurance. Unfortunately, it's law now that you have to have your own health insurance or you will be penalized in your taxes at the end of the year when you file for taxes. So TRICARE Reserve Select Program is our current provider for part-time soldiers like the Guard. So it's $50 a month as an individual and up to 5 members, up to $225 to $250 per month, which is great. To put it in perspective, I think I had Blue Cross Blue Shield, I believe is what I had as a civilian. And my monthly premium was like over $600. My employer paid half, I paid the other half. And I was a healthy 19-year-old at the time. And that's crazy. So that is a huge steal. Now, I don't mean that you can't have any more than 5 family members, but they cap you out at 5 members and they don't charge you for more than that. So that is the maximum amount that they can charge you. Now, if you can make them, and you have more than 5 dependents, they'll only charge you up to that dollar amount. Then we have the dental program, which about $14 a month is an individual coverage. Family coverage is $32.95, I believe, off the top of my head is what I'm paying on my LES for family coverage. That covers 2 cleanings, one annual checkup with x-rays, and they pay up to 40 to 60% for all oral surgeries that you could think of inside the mouth. Now, at some point, they're supposed to be rolling out with a vision program. I don't have any information on that, but that's probably going to be comparable to the dental. All right. So, with that being said, you're going to have additional job training experience that you could put on our resume. Now, I'm not a huge advocate for combat MOSs. No offense to my combat people in here. But I would rather you choose a skill set that you can use and translates well onto the civilian sector, giving you additional skill sets that employers are looking for. More importantly, just being a soldier in of itself is going to set yourself apart from the rest of the competition, because your employer can easily send you to training to learn the skills of the trade that you're going for. What they're really looking for is, are you a team player? Are you a hard worker? Do you show up on time? Do you have a good attitude? Do you work well with others? If you can meet those attributes, right, or character traits of an employee, your employer will want you as part of their team, right? Because as a soldier, they're already going to assume that you're going to be punctual, showing up on time, you're going to do your job, you're going to do it well, right? Because that's the high standards that people view soldiers of being in the military. So that's going to spice up your resume. So for example, if you go into an interview and you and I have the same degree, but I have the experience and training in the Army for that same job, and all you have is the education credential with little or even no experience, who do you think is going to have that edge for that interview? Myself, right? So there's just food for thought and things to consider. If you work for a city, state, or federal job, you can double dip and you can work towards 2 retirements at the same time or simultaneously. So if you work as a NYPD, FDNY, EMS, corrections, whatever government agency that you work for, you'll get up to 20 days of paid military leave that you can input for your drill weekends, your annual training, up to 20 days or whatever your organization allows. That means double dipping, meaning you're getting paid from that organization and the Army National Guard at the same time. So that's why it's called double dipping. Outside of that, again, the dual retirement, you're earning 2 retirements simultaneously. If I could, not that I don't love what I do, not that I would probably do anything different, but if I could have done it differently, and if I knew then what I knew now, I would work for another city, state, or federal job and do the guard part-time so that I could leverage that, the additional benefits of being a part-time soldier and having that dual retirement option. From there, the guard is great for community service. Again, I was a volunteer fireman from my hometown upstate. I liked putting the wet stuff on the hot stuff. I liked being a fireman, and I liked helping out my community for auto accidents, forest fires, and house fires. So again, that's just me. Some people, they just want to leverage benefits. Maybe the reserve is for you because you don't do anything other than your 1 week in a month, but to each its own. So in the guard, you get the best of both worlds. Now, if you're contemplating on going into military full time, comparing active duty full time versus guard reserve is like comparing apples to oranges. They're very, very, very different. So the analogy I like to use before we move on to introducing our guests on the show tonight is, think of life as a hallway. And in this hallway, there are a series of doors that are open or closed. If you go active duty, big army wants you to do big army things, right? So you need permission to work a side job or a side hustle or a side hobby that makes you money, or anything that could be possibly deemed that will detract you from your daily duties as a soldier while you're on active duty. Like college, your commander has the right and ability to tell you to cease and desist that activity for whatever reason, because it's detracting you from your job. So there's not a lot of flexibility if you have that entrepreneurial spirit, or if you want to focus on college full time. I'm not saying that you can't go to college on active duty, but it's a lot more challenging because, again, depending on your job skill and the unit that you're in and what they're doing, may not afford you the opportunity to go to college or even full time at that, right? So this analogy of the hallway is active duty, all those doors are closed because they're going to micromanage your entire life during your contract, right? The guard and reserve, right? In our case, the National Guard, all those doors of opportunity are open. College, work, any side hustle, side job, whatever it is that you want to do with your life, it's extremely flexible. As long as whatever you do as a civilian does not conflict with your drill weekends and your annual training every year, those doors of opportunity are wide open for you. Okay. So that is the difference between guard and reserve. So if you have a good financial, or you have a good job, or you're financially stable, the guard is an excellent option for you. If you are homeless, you don't have a job, the guard and reserve is not for you. Okay. You're not going to live off of 1 weekend a month drill. This is somebody that's living home, mom and pop. Maybe you're going to college, right? And you're getting ready to spread your wings and be a big person. Or you have a career or a full-time job, you got some benefits going on, and you don't necessarily want to leave what you have, but you still want to give back to your state and your country. The guard will be an excellent option for you, and something that I feel that you should definitely explore and not write off. Now, you can only meet with a Army National Guard recruiter to get National Guard information. If you want Army Reserve and active duty Army information, you need to sit down with those respective recruiters to get their information. In the comments down below, beneath this video, I put a series of links. So before I go into the introductions, the very, very top link is sharing with you my phone number and a link to my MailChimp landing page where you will answer some soft questions and schedule an appointment with me virtually or in person. Obviously, if you're in New York City. If you're in New York, that option is for you. If you're not in New York, you can direct message me on Instagram at TEAM SWARTZ, and I will find a recruiter for you. But if you're in New York, you're calling me. I also have links of other videos of topics you're more than likely going to bring up during this guard experience. So you can definitely check those out once we're done with the stream. So without further ado, I'm going to have Staff Sergeant Sainville introduce himself. And you might have to unmute yourself.
No problem.
There we go.
How you guys doing? Staff Sergeant Sainville, 29 years old, from out of Brooklyn, New York. I'm 11 Bravo Infantry. Got 9 years on. I went to Fort Benning, Georgia for basic training. It was about 22 weeks OSET training, which is a one-station unit training. Stationed now in the 169th Infantry Division, is out of Midtown, New York, as Sergeant First Class Schwartz. Outside, as my civilian job, I'm an NYPD officer. Utilized, which helped me a lot. The National Guard helped me a lot get into. I have a degree, which I use my federal tuition assistance and my state tuition assistance to get. And the reason why I joined, I can say 9/11, Call of Duty, the movies. I want to do all the cool guy things and be swole while I do it. Now, half of that things was true. It's not Call of Duty. You don't get to respawn in the infantry world. Why I stayed. We shoot a lot, which is something that I like to do. We go to a lot of schools, so airborne is afforded to you. Air assault is afforded to you. Mountain warfare, all that cool guy infantry things that you guys see in the movies, and half of Call of Duty, you get to do doing on the infantry side. So it's stuff that I like doing and all of that. The monthly pay did keep me in because it pays for my BMW's lease. So that was a good thing. And while I'm doing something that I love, and it's something that I would do fun anyways, it also helped me out with NYPD tasking. It made the academy a joke, like a light work. Nobody's going to scream at me the way they screamed at me in basic training. So that made it a lot easier. That afforded me the time that I needed to just pay attention to the schooling, which other people that wasn't in the military didn't have quite the ability that we did. We understood what front leading rest meant, and we went down, we did what we had to do, and that was it. It helped me with muscle memory in the shooting range and room clearing tactics. I can say that the National Guard did help me a lot on my civilian time. And now I've been on this COVID mission since day 0. So it was a lot of federal time, which also helped me out network. It brought a lot of new people, new experiences to my life. I'm an infantry soldier doing logistic taxing. So that helps me a lot. So now on my resume going outside of this, I can actually put that I was a lead auditor of the COVID-19. With I can, if I don't want to do NYP, I can go do something else, and that helps with my resume. If I can say something about the National Guard and active duty, is a lot of people would question, all right, why would I go National Guard instead of active duty? And active duty hates National Guard. And there's a little difference with it. With the National Guard, especially going on a deployment or something, all of us aren't just infantry soldiers. You have some of the guys that are mechanics, they are nurses, EMTs. They do something outside of the infantry world that brings a lot to our active duty side. If we're on a convoy and our vehicle breaks down, we have that mechanic that's with us that knows how to fix that. So we don't really need to call another mechanic and stuff. So that really brings this thing. It's the outside world of the doors that Sergeant First Class Schwartz had mentioned that we do bring into. That's very, very, very welcoming, and like we need that. And that's about me.
All right, appreciate you. Thank you. All right, so here we go. All right, so the next person I want to bring on board is our 12 Whiskey Carpentry with PFC Sobarzo.
I am PFC Sobarzo. I'm a 12 Whiskey Carpentry Masonry Specialist. I'm coming up on just about 2 years in the Guard. And I joined to get away from home, learn new things. And the Guard has brought to me what I wanted. And lots of opportunities. I could sit here and talk about it all day, but a lot of networking, and it's getting me close to buying my first house. And I am 21 years old.
All right. You want to tell them the story how we met?
Oh, yeah. So I'm actually Sergeant Swartz. I think you said I was your first enlistment off of social media. I found him on YouTube. I was by that time I was already looking around for maybe 6 months. I wanted to pull the trigger and join some branch, but I didn't know where I was going. And one day he just sat me down and he literally laid it all out on a board. Something that no recruiter, from what I've heard of, will do. He told me, all right, what do you want from this branch, from that branch? Why are you interested? What do you need? And I mean, it was, when you compare it like that, Army National Guard had what I was looking for. And I kind of knew that, but I guess I was just looking for somebody to tell me. Because decisions like that are hard to make on your own, especially before the fact. But yeah, that's how we met. And it was still a long road after that, which is a whole different story. But we're here today, and I'm very thankful.
Well, you've been awesome so far, man, and I appreciate you. And he was definitely checking out the Marine Corps at the time, and what he left out was I could sense that he really kind of emulated how I was at the time, where I really wanted to earn that Eagle Globe and Anchor, because let's face it, the Marine Corps, they're sexy AF and their dress uniforms are amazing. But at one point I was like, you know what? I know, and I could tell that you really want to go to the Marines. So I'm telling you, go to the Marine Corps, call your recruiter, and thank you very much and have a great day. And then you responded with what?
Shit. Honestly, I said I stayed in your office. I don't know. I something about
No,
what
you were at home, man. We were texting at that time. You said you're a good dude. I didn't expect you to say that, so I'm gonna go
yeah,
guard.
actually, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I told you I really wasn't expecting that answer, because that's not something that you get out of recruiters. You expect a recruiter to try to get you to their side, right? But you could tell he was 100%, because he was telling me, all right, I laid it out. Your answer's right there. So go to the Marine Corps, right? There's something about that just rang a bell, I guess. So
Well, I'm glad you're here, and appreciate your input right now. And now we're gonna move on to Staff Sergeant Shabeli. She's a 13 Bravo Cannon crew member, and she's going to share her experience real quick.
Hey guys, it's Staff Sergeant Shabeli. I'm a 13 Bravo. I'm 35 years old. I've been in the Army National Guard for 5.5 years right now. So I joined the Army National Guard. To be honest, I was in a very bad place in my life. I was going through a very hard breakup, very trying to find myself. And you know that everything was going on. Everything just gave me a drive to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to join the military when I was 18. But, you know, you listen to your parents and, you know, they tell you no and this, that, you're going to die, all this stuff. And I always listened to everybody else. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go see a recruiter and I'm going to get my stuff together and I'm just going to go. And that's what I did. And I never looked back and I took this golden ticket and I'm just running with it right now. The Guard has opened many doors for me, military-wise, definitely. I'm on state active duty orders. I'm going back to school, which is insane because I never thought in a million years I would go back to school. The Guard has sent me to some pretty amazing schools. I've been sent to Paris, which is out of control. So right now, this is just my golden ticket, and I'm going to run with it. That's it.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right. So next up will be Specialist Jimenez. And he's going to come up right now. And he's a 25 Bravo information. Oh, hang on. I'll shut up.
How's it going? Thank you for having me here, guys. My name is Specialist James Jimenez. I'm a 25 Bravo, which is an Information and Systems Technology Specialist. I've been in for a little over 3 years. And why I joined, I was in a tough spot in my life, financially, mentally, emotionally. And just when I was like getting out of it, like, you know, I just got back into that hole and I'm just like, man, what I'm gonna do? I thought like I was like doing well, and eventually I spoke with my brother who knew Sergeant First Class Swartz for a very long time, and my brother sent me to him, and I was one of those people very reluctant to join. Like for me, like, you know, I don't like, you know, being told what to do really. Like, you know, I like, you know, doing me. And on top of that, I was very ignorant about the National Guard or the military in general, because, you know, like you're just thinking, okay, like, you know, you do all this and now you do this every day for the rest of your life, being told what to do, like, you know, being told where to go. I mean, and then like, you know, one of the best things about Sergeant First Class Sports was, you know, he was 100% all the way, you know, and I still like, you know, wasn't 100% on joining till like it came to finally make that decision. And I only regretted it the first day I was in basic training. You know, it was like, I'm just like on that plane on my way to Oklahoma and Fort Sill. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, you know, I joined when I was 26, so I'm just like, I felt I was like too old for this. You know, I saw all these kids around me and I was losing my patience. But then, like, you know, you put on that uniform and you feel a little different. Like, you're like, wow, this is crazy. All right, let's see where this goes. And it was, and then like, you know, you go through basic, and it was, for me, it was like a mental reset in terms of like my life. On top of that, like the amount of money I made in basic training alone, like definitely like allowed me to get out of a lot of like financial situations that I was in, and a lot. And on top of that, like, you know, the problems that I was going through before I joined, like I totally forgot about it. Like, you totally forget about your problems when you just want to lead basic training and AIT in general. And I like I said, I was ignorant before, so I thought like, oh, this is just the same as going active, blah blah. But when I was explained about the fact that it's just 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year, and I got to stay stateside, I'm like, oh, that sounds amazing. And one of the best things, I did was I was like, all right, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna challenge myself, because I have an associate's in business administration, and I also have a bachelor's in aviation management. So I could have chosen in aviation MOS, but like I was like, all right, since I'm doing this thing, it's only 3 years. Let me learn something new. Let me learn something different, and like that's applicable to the real world. Because like I'm like, okay, I could have done a combat MOS. It would have been cool, fun, exhilarating, or could have done aviation, which is more the same. But I chose computers, and prior to joining the military, the most I knew about computers was social media, Microsoft Office, and how to send an email. And then like when I went to AIT, I got thrown right into the fire. A lot of these people that chose this MOS were more prepared for the AIT than I was, but I got out at one go, and I'm just like, holy crap! I know about computers. It was like a little superpower, and but then I didn't know what to do with it afterwards, and one of the best things that the that the National Guard has provided me was like a huge network of people. I'm a strong believer about you are the company you keep, because like you're even in the military, you're always going to find some people who are just doing the wrong things. But then if you stay close to the people who are doing the right things, if you stay close to the people who know the ins and outs of the military, who know about opportunities for you to learn, whether it's something you're interested or not, like those are the people that you want to be around. And ultimately, like being in the IT world, I'm just like, holy crap! Like I never thought I could make a career out of this. Because I've worked in sales, I've done Uber, I've worked in countless restaurants, I've had 2 degrees, and nothing has given back to me more than the IT field has. And because of my unit, because um, I distinguished myself in my unit as a hard worker, someone who knows what they're doing, I got recommended to work in the National Guard headquarters in New York, in Latham, and I'm part of a team that manages all the computers in New York State. I'm like tier 1 out of 5, so I'm like the person who receives the initial issue that anyone in the state has in regards to their computer issues, whether it comes from hardware to software. And it was one of those things where like I'm like, all right, I got this job, and I felt like a fraud because like I'm just like even though I'm not like even though I like the army taught me computers, I thought I didn't know enough. And but in the end, like one of the things army teaches you is that all right, fine, you get all this stuff in front of you, and you got to figure out a way to manage it. And that's what I did. It's like basic training is not just learning how to become a soldier; it's also learning how to cope and tackle life and situations, because a lot of the stuff that we deal with as National Guard soldiers is just like, okay, this is what we got, and we got to figure out, like, and compared to like any other organization, like no one's more organized, no one's more mission oriented than being in the military. And learning IT in the military has changed my life. I've met a lot of people. I've 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 accomplished a lot in just IT alone, just a short amount of time. Like it's a if you're interested in a field that really gives back, it's IT definitely. Especially if you meet the right people and you show that you're willing to learn and eventually know your stuff, it's one that really gives back. And going back to what Sergeant First Class Swartz said, like this you really want to choose an MOS where not only that you like if it's not one that you love, at least one that like at least one that gives back. And that's my story.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. All right. Where are you? Here we go. So next up is going to be PFC Casado, 35 Foxtrot Military Intelligence. Go ahead and mute your phone there.
Am I check? Am I good?
Yep, you're all set, man. Appreciate you.
Good afternoon, everybody. PFC Casalo, 35 Foxtrot is my MOS. Reason I joined was to pay for school. When I contacted Sergeant Swartz, I didn't have any previous college, and college was expensive when I was getting out of high school. So I contacted him and I was able to get into school and I don't have to pay for it. That was like that's the biggest plus. Um, and my experience with I'm in the signal unit, and I get to learn a lot about signal stuff, and I also get to do a little bit of my job. But most of the stuff that I do is classified, so I'm not able to speak on it. But it is really cool. I think it's the best MOS. You get to see the bigger picture of everything, and I'm grateful for joining.
Awesome. Sounds good. Appreciate you. All right. So moving right along to Specialist Abrar.
Hey, Mike check. Can you hear me, Sarn?
Yes, you are good to go. He is a 68 whiskey combat medic.
All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Specialist Abrar Hussein, and I'm a 68 whiskey in the 69th Infantry. I went to Fort Sill for basic training. Did that for 2 months, and then Fort Sam Houston for AIT for 4 months. My training pipeline was 6 months in total. I've been in the Guard for about 3 years now, and I joined because I wanted to be a citizen. And I naturalized last year, and I stayed because of the camaraderie and the fact that the 69th has the best medical platoon in the state. We have EMTs, firefighters, paramedics that share all their knowledge from their job, civilian job, and then bring it back to the medical platoon. We disseminate knowledge to each other, and spread the knowledge and make sure we're all up on our skills. The Guard has given me skills, medical skills, that I personally never thought that I could learn. I had my degree in political science, and being a 68 whiskey was something that I kind of wanted to do my whole life, either in another branch or in the Army. So it was really cool to figure that I could do medical stuff, despite having no medical background. And after AIT, I did the COVID mission for a year, straight out of training. So after a year of serving my community, I got out from the mission, and I managed to land the civilian job that I wouldn't have landed otherwise if I didn't have these medical skills and my military training and discipline. Um, I started this civilian job, as at an entry level position where I was basically performing COVID tests for the film and TV industry. So I would be going on the sets of films, uh, television shows, and all that, swabbing actors, cast, and crew. I've met uh, some pretty famous people. I've met some big people. I've even gone to their houses and performed those tests for them at these crazy, gigantic houses that they got, and that was a really cool experience that I couldn't have gotten if I wasn't in the Guard, if I didn't have that confidence, that drive to do the best in everything that I do. And with this job and the training confidence that the Guard has given me, I was able to rise up the ranks real quick. And in the span of 6 months, I went from entry level contract position to a full time salaried position as a senior production coordinator. And so I manage productions uh, throughout the tri-state area, and uh, that's been my experience with the Guard. It's been great.
Awesome. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right. Next up is Specialist Baramov. He's an 88 Mike motor transport specialist.
Can you hear me, Sergeant?
Yes. Loud and clear. Lima Charlie.
All right. Hey, what's going on, guys? So I'm Specialist Baramov. I came to
Nice
the
teddy
United
bear.
States. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I said nice teddy bear.
Oh. So I came to the United States in 2016. I'm not even from the United States. I was born in Central Asia, Turkmenistan, the country name. When I came to the United States, I just knew about the U.S. Army, but I didn't know about different components like reserves, National Guard, or like Navy, Marines. and I never did my research. I wanted to join when I was 17 to the reserves, but my parents, they were actually against that, and they were thinking that there's going to be deployments, everybody's going to go like to a different country, and all that crap they hear from the outside world. But at the same time, they never knew what's going on inside of the army, and they never had any information. So they told me not to join, and I was waiting till 20 years old. One day I was walking in my college, and I I saw National Guard. I was like, let me talk to them. Let me see what they have. Let me see what is it. And I got a lot of information about it. Uh, so until I signed my contract, I never told my parents that I'm joining because I knew they were going to be against that. But when I signed my contract, I told to my mom, and then when I went to my first training, I told to my dad. They were shocked first, but to be honest, right now they're proud. Um, I joined with the green card. I didn't have a citizenship, so after being in the National Guard 1.5 year, I decided to get my citizenship. I applied for citizenship. It just took me 3 months to get a citizenship, and it just helped me out with that. The reason why I joined the National Guard was I want to become a police officer. I'm still in the process with them, and I was thinking that National Guard is actually one of the best resumes uh, gonna be for the to become police officer. Um, I chose a job, 88 Mike, which is a motor transport operator, which is truck driving. Uh, I just wanted to do it because I love driving first. Second, with the motor transport operator, you can actually get a CDL license in the civilian world. Meaning, after I completed my training, I came back to the unit, and I just have to get that paper from my commander and go to the local DMV and just pass the permit test. I don't have to do that uh, driving portion, and that's it. That's pretty much that's pretty much it.
I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. So we have up next Specialist Halu. He's a 91 Bravo light wheel vehicle mechanic.
Can everybody hear me? Can you guys hear me?
You are Lima Charlie, loud and clear.
Alrighty. Good evening, everybody. I am Specialist Hailu. I am a 91 Bravo, which is a wheeled vehicle mechanic. I am attached to a CBurn unit. For those who don't know what a CBurn is the chemical unit located out of Fort Hamilton, New York. I'm on the support side. I'm on the headquarters platoon. And I'm 29. No, I'm 30 years old. Joined the Guard when I was 28. I actually wanted to join the military 11 years ago. That was when I graduated out of high school. I graduated out of military high school. That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to join the military back in 2010. My dad was cool with it. My sisters were not okay with that because, I mean, back then we were talking about the war in Afghanistan and the war in Iraq. That was when it was at its peak. So I tried getting in. Unfortunately, I didn't have the smarts up here to pass the ASVAB, so I just put it off. And I went to community college, Sullivan County Community College in upstate New York. Did my time there. Got my associates in sports management. Then I transferred to a 4-year school in South Carolina. Did a year and a semester there. I didn't finish because I didn't like it. Had a few jobs here and there while I was there until 2016. And then I moved back to New York. Came back to New York and had a couple of jobs here and there. And then fast forward to 2019. I went to active duty office to join the military, or at least try to join the military, and failed the ASVAB. I took the ASVAB 4 times, and I passed it on the 4th try. So 3rd try, I tried, didn't work out. And then I met somebody who actually enlisted in the Guard, and she put me on with TEAM SWARTZ, Drill Sergeant SWARTZ, who is my recruiter. So I linked up with him, and I got the help that I needed to get my ASVAB scores up so that I can pass. And that's when I joined the Guard. I finally joined the Guard. So did my time at Basic, which was in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, also known as Relaxin' Jackson. And after I finished my time there, I went to Fort Lee for AIT, which is in Virginia. Anybody who's doing 91 Bravo, any ordnance-related type of MOS will be at Fort Lee. And I think transportation too, I'm not too sure. But I went to Fort Lee for AIT. I finished April 28th of last year. Joined my unit 3 months in because it was COVID season. It was pretty hot. We did drill online, and then the 3rd month went to report to my unit, and they were calling for people to go on COVID mission. I hopped on the mission. I met a lot of people from all different types of units, all different types of ages, all different types of professions. So there was a lot of networking out there for me while on COVID mission. I got off of COVID mission July of this year, reported back to my unit. They actually tried calling me back to get back on the COVID mission this couple of days ago. However, I turned it down because I have SAD coming up. That's another opportunity that the National Guard also provides as a state active duty. So I will be hopping on that December 9th. And yeah, I've been in for 2 years. I've been in the Guard for 2 years. My contract ends this next year in June 13th. I don't know if I'm going to re-enlist yet. I have time to think about it. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Love the Guard. Don't have anything against the Guard. It has provided me with a lot of opportunities, and it changed me as a person compared to where I was prior to joining the Guard. So anybody who's willing or wanting to join the Guard, at least give it a try, or at least look into it. So yeah, that's all I got.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, man.
All right, next person up is Specialist Lau, 92 Golf Culinary Specialist.
Hi, my name is Specialist Matthew Liao. I enlisted in the Guard back in 2016. I went to Basic and AIT in 2017, and I went to Basic at Fort Benning, AIT at Fort Lee. If you're any type of quartermaster MOS, you're gonna be at Fort Lee. I joined the Guard because I got really bored and I need to do something and change myself and whatever else I had going on. Arrived to my unit, 101 signal. As soon as I arrived, they started to deploy. I didn't have that chance, but being a being a cook in the Army National Guard, honestly, for me, it's a life skill. And I always hear my parents tell me that, oh, I got to learn how to cook. So that's why I did it, essentially. It's because of the life skill that it's going to bring to the civilian side. And what the Guard did for me is, honestly, like, if I couldn't afford to pay for school, then I would have the TA as backup. And I haven't touched my TA since because I'm done with school. I don't need to touch that. But if I decide to go back, I just use TA instead. And so last year, COVID-19, it was really hot, and a lot of units got activated. I was a part of COVID-19 mission, and I worked with a lot of good people. under a lot of good leadership. And what that provided for me is I was trying to network with other people, like people from the Air National Guard, the Navy militia, other guard units within the state. And we were basically sharing knowledge with each other and working together to help the community. And what we did was essentially, it was like, after a few months of working with each other, it's like we became good friends, and I still keep in contact with them to this day. And another thing the Guard gave me is like, I'm a citizen soldier, and I would volunteer my time on the weekends at a Chinese school because I speak Mandarin. So that kind of helped me a lot. And it also allowed me to help a lot of the senior citizens because a lot of them can't speak English or know very little. So there's a plus side to it. And I would be able to translate. I do a lot of translations on the side. That is basically a side hustle that I have. Do a lot of translations for them, and they always ask me what I do. I just tell them I'm a soldier, and that's essentially what I do. And I left the Guard last year, and currently I am an active duty soldier. That's all I got for it.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Thank you. All right. So, hang on. Where are you? All right. So pretty much just to recap, we had a infantry soldier, carpentry, cannon crew member, which is field artillery, 25 Bravo, which is information technology, communications, essentially, military intelligence, combat medic, motor transport, aka truck driver, mechanic, and culinary specialist. That's pretty much everyone that shared a quick introduction of themselves. At this time, if you're in the stream, do me a huge favor. If you have a question pertaining to any one of these MOSs, drop them in the chat box right now. Okay. I'm going to go off of the older questions. And as we go down the line, whoever wants to answer the questions, they'll be more than happy to chime in and say what they need to say and respond to your questions. It could be about their experience at a specific training location, maybe something about AIT. But again, for the most part, this stream is about the Army National Guard, their MOS, and their experience at the training environment or within their MOS. If it's going to be an active duty type question, we'll save it for later in the stream or another day when I do my normal stream here on Team Swartz. Okay, so let's go. We'll start off with this first question here, which I'll take right here. Fried Everything asks, will I be qualified for 11 Bravo if I have fire ants allergy? So from a recruiter's perspective, the follow-up question I would have, and I'll just give you everything, is if you are not diagnosed from a doctor and do not have medical documentation to support it, what allergy? Now, if you do have a legitimate allergy, you've been tested and you confirmed it with a doctor, if it is a life-threatening allergy, you're more than likely not going to be able to join. Okay. If it is a mild allergy with a mild reaction, then you could probably do and get an approved medical waiver for it. It doesn't matter if it's infantry or any other MOS, that's just regular procurement medical standards. All right. So moving right along to the next one. Someone asked here, that's another question for myself. Is knee clicking during the duck walk at MEPS DQU if there's no pain? So as long as you're not in any pain, you should be fine. You know, people crack all the time. It comes with age. All right. So don't even worry about that unless you have a medical issue. I pretty much already addressed this earlier, but with M-Roads, they only have access to your prescription history for the past 7 years. So you're not going to be able to hide anything. They do not have access to your medical records unless you've previously served in the United States military. Then if you've processed at any military medical facility or Veterans Affairs hospital, MEPS will have access to all those records. So you won't be able to hide your VA disability or anything like that. All right. They're going to have all that stuff. Okay. So moving right along. Nadia, one of my applicants right now I'm currently working with. She has a question for the 92 Golf Culinary Specialist. So this is for you, Sergeant Liao.
Yep.
She wants to know, how is the training at the AIT site, and what are the hours like?
Okay, so the hours in the AIT environment is very different from the Garrison environment. So when you go to AIT, essentially, the first week you're just doing regular PT, and there will be 1 week where you would wake up a lot earlier. I think it's around 3 a.m. where you go in and you actually work in the Garrison environment called JCO when you're down in Fort Lee, and you would switch off. So it would be 1 day early, and then the next day you would do PT, but after that you would go in at like I think 9:30, and you start prepping lunch. So that's how it goes. And when it's lights out, you always go lights out at 2100. That's the standard in TRADOC for AIT as that MOS. And the type of food you cook is basically gonna be the same food you cook at like a regular Garrison, like we've seen in basic, like eggs, bacon. For lunch, it's always different. It's basically what you would see at a DFAC when you're in that training environment. It's the same food you would be cooking if you're working in a Garrison environment. But in the field, it's a lot different. Like field stuff, it's heat and serves or big MREs.
All right.
And the hours, I mean, the time I went, we used to get out around I think 1500 to 1430. So I don't remember it.
All right. Appreciate you. Thank you. And this person, I would have to say, for Christian Martinez, I have a mild case of PTSD. If I was your recruiter, I ask you, is that a self-diagnosis or an actual doctor diagnosed you with it? And then we're going to need to know if you're on any type of medication, what was the original diagnosis, what is the prognosis now, all that good stuff. That's a dialogue that you should have with your local recruiter and take things from there, okay? Because they're going to know your case better than myself. I only know what you share with me, but we would have to look at everything. All right. This is a really good question. So this is a prior service question. Coming in from Daniel Taylor, can you have a VA disability rating and still join the Guard? So as long as you have 30% or less of a VA disability rating, then yes, as long as you can pass MEPS medical, then you can enlist. Anything beyond 30% is a no-go. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You will not be able to join. Okay. So be careful what you disclose at time of leaving the service. So if you're getting anything over 30%, you shot yourself in the foot. And oftentimes when people leave because, maybe they had a bad experience or what have you, and they just want to leave, if you have acquired some sort of medical condition while in the service and you're claiming it, it could hinder you from a civilian position, post-military, or re-entry into the military, like right now. All right. So be careful what you share. I'm just scrolling down, looking for questions. Real quick, could you talk about ROTC after AIT? Yes, you can definitely do it if you're in the Guard or the Reserve. If you're active duty, no, because it is a full-time college commitment. All right. So unless they release you from active duty to focus on your education, which can and has happened, but that's permission that you're going to have to obtain through your chain of command if you're on active duty. But yes, ROTC is a college level class, military science, and has nothing to do with us. That's just you and your college. All right. Here's another one for Sergeant Liao. Nadia is also asking, what is it was Fort Lee, right?
Yes, it's Fort Lee. So after basic training, you will go directly to Fort Lee and you'll enter reception. And after that, drill sergeant's going to pick you up from there and take you over to the barracks. And your schoolhouse is right next to your barracks.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And then Robert Rutherford asks if we're still wearing masks at basic training. Yes, when you're indoors and whether you're vaxxed or not, you will be wearing your mask. When you're outdoors, if you're I mean, this is going to be site specific on how they're doing it, but most of the time, as long as you're physically distancing 6 feet, you can take your mask off when you're outdoors. But for controlled monitoring, it's masks on 24/7. All right. But once you get past that controlled monitoring quarantine, more or less, during your yellow phase in the first 10 to 14 days, then you can remove your mask when you're outdoors. And everyone's getting vaxxed now, so good luck with that. Let's see. Someone is asking, what is the weather like in Virginia for anyone who's been there?
I could answer that for you, Sergeant. I was just at Virginia Beach last weekend.
Nice.
It's cold. I'll tell you that much. It's cold. So, I mean, I'll tell you this. If you think that there's going to be any warm place in the Army, you're wrong. It's going to be cold anywhere you go with the Army. Anywhere you go with the Army, it's going to be cold as hell.
And I'll tell you what, if it snows, it snowed in Fort Lee, and because it snowed, we didn't have school. So if you look forward to that, I mean, that's just what it is. So
when it's summertime in Virginia, it gets really hot. So make sure you have a water source with you always. If not, they just put you on blast for it.
Yeah, water source is a sensitive item. You don't want to lose that. You got to have that on you at all times. If not, somebody like myself will smoke the hell out of you. I mean, not smoke you, but corrective action is the politically correct term now. But yeah. So, all right, good question. All right.
Further answer that question is be prepared for anything. All right, whether it's cold, heat, rain, whatever. If the weather app says it's going to be raining, prepare for it to be snowing, and so on and so on. All right, whatever military base you are, it's basically done. All right, so prepare for it.
Hell yeah. I was when Fort Knox was a TRADOC post. I conducted my basic training there 2001 into 2002. And the day before the major snowstorm, we were qualifying. Well, we were doing the pre-qual, and they said that they may use it for record if it snows as much as they thought they were expecting. So we were expecting 4 feet of snow the next day, which turned out to be rain. And yeah, like he said, you're expecting snow and it could be rain, and that's worse than snow, if you ask me, in my opinion. So plan for the worst and plan for the best, but expect the worst. There we go. Let's see. So for my 25 Bravo, do you know the difference that you could share? Your mic is off. There we go.
There we go. So, yes, I do know the difference, and there's one of the things that made me trust Sergeant First Class Swartz a lot more, because he explained to me the differences, like, prior to me choosing. So prior to me choosing an MOS, I tried to do a lot of research on each of them. Like, he gave me a list of every MOS I qualified for with my ASVAB score, and I did my research on all of them. And so I'm gonna tell you right now that it's give and take. Okay, so 25 uniform, they are like the Swiss Army knife of the signal world. Basically, they can do almost anything, but not to the full capacity. But they're like the backbone of the signal world. Like, you can literally place them anywhere. And but at 25 Bravo, we strictly deal with troubleshooting problems, fixing computers, hardware to software. Like, I do this on a daily basis as well, for several military members. Like, oh, I can't access an email, if a general is calling you saying, hey, like, I need this email, you have to figure out a way to get the email. Or like, oh, my screen cracked. Oh, well, I break it apart and I take it apart and break it. I mean, a 25 uniform and a 25 Bravo, they can do the same thing. The only difference is with the 25, since the 25 Bravo is like really broad, it's not really centralized. Oh, sorry, a 25 uniform it's really broad since it's like a Swiss Army knife. You know, and you're not going to use like if you have a, like, for example, if you have a wrench, you're not going to use a Swiss Army knife, right? So basically, even though there's more opportunities for promotion, and I think there's even like more opportunities in terms of gaining like some type of recruitment bonus from it. 25 Bravo is for, like, it's more applicable to the real world. One of the best things that the military has provided me was access to these civilian certifications that are applicable to the real. Like, just one of these certs can easily qualify you for like a job in the civilian world that will just start you off minimum $60,000 to $65,000 a year. Just one of those certs, and as long as like you're part of a signal unit, you will have the opportunity. But as a 25 Bravo, you're more prepared for it than a 25 uniform. You can receive it as a 25 uniform, but as a 25 Bravo, you're more prepared for it. It's more applicable to the real world. Because if you decided to like, okay, let me learn how to fix computers as a 25 uniform, you'll only know it to an extent. If anything, you're more of like a support of the signal world. You can do what a 25 Bravo does, what a 25 November does, 25 Quebec does. You can do what they do, but just not to their capacity. But one of the best parts about being in Signal and in the New York National Guard, most of the time you're never really doing just your job as what's it called? You're never really doing your job that you trained in AIT. You're basically doing everything that a signal company needs, because even though I'm a 25 Bravo, I do a lot what 25 uniforms do. I do a lot what 25 Quebecs do, 25 Novembers. Not really much Sierra, but like if you join the signal world, you're gonna eventually learn a lot. Now, the only thing I would say is 25 uniforms, they definitely do have more availability for promotion. Well, a lot of MOSs have more availability for promotion than a 25 Bravo. The only thing I could say about 25 Bravo is that everything you learn there is more applicable to the real world. And when I was getting recruited, I was explained that. And for me, at the time when I chose, I was like, all right, I'm not really sure I want to stay in the military after 3 years. So let me just at least get something where I could apply to the real world after doing my research. And my decision on how it applied to the real world, it worked out because that's what I do on a daily basis. Like, even though I didn't learn because when you go to AIT in Georgia to learn to be a 25 Bravo, you're not only learning Army systems. It's like you're going to like a crash course for IT in general, and it's like a skill tree where like you're like doing this, and then like you learn a whole bunch of other things, and you can apply to the real world. But then if you choose another signal MOS, it's more Army focused. So it's like give and take. I'm just letting you know, if you're joining a signal unit, I believe any signal unit, you're not only going to do your job, even if you're not qualified for it, you're going to learn a lot of things. I work on these big like snap terminals. They're like big satellites. That's not my job, but I know the components of it, and I can put hands on some of the things that they have to run this equipment, even though that's not what I'm tasked to do or what I'm trained to do. But because I'm a signal person, I have the proficiency to understand, and so does every other signal soldier. We all basically do everything. So it all depends. So in this case, right, when it comes to choosing a 25 series MOS, do your research on each and every one of them in terms of what you want to learn. And if you really want to get far in terms of promotion, figure out which ones are more valued by the state. I think right now it's like the 25 Quebecs and Sierras are really valued, and you'll still learn what a 25 Bravo learns to an extent. But what's it called? You just have to decide what you want. It's all give and take, and all 25 series MOSs you can always take to the civilian world. It's just for me 25 Bravo, and for 25 Bravo it does prepare you more for the civilian world, and it has, and I'm very grateful to the military for that. They taught someone who knows nothing about computers how to fix them, how to set things up, how to set up a huge network, how to make sure that some VIP gets internet in a short amount of time.
All right, appreciate you. Thank you. All right, so next one I'll take myself. Don't forget to mute your phone. Juliana Arambueva. So you're saying that deployment is optional. All right, so with that, it is not optional, but it can be optional, meaning that if your unit is selected to be deployed overseas, you're going. All right. Now, if your mission dictates a fewer amount of soldiers or MOSs for that particular mission compared to what's in the unit, for example, let's say there's 100 soldiers assigned to your unit, 50 soldiers are required for this mission. So they lay out different ranks, right? Lower enlisted, senior ranks, all that good stuff. So let's say in your section of 15 for this mission, we only need 9, right? So initially, everyone's going to be assigned to go on this deployment. You're going to go through another mini medical, another law violation, police record check, DV check, sex offender check, all that stuff. And we may or may not weed people out off of that list, or we may identify medical issues that someone can't deploy, pregnancy, whatever. All these different types of things. Now, if there's more than enough people to support this mission, and let's say you're a full-time college student, or maybe you have something going on in life that you don't want to leave or you need to address, then if there's more than enough people in your section to satisfy the mission requirements and you don't want to go, then you don't have to go, right? That is when it becomes optional. Other than that, let's say there's 15 people in your section, but it actually warrants like 25 people for this particular mission. That means everyone's going to go on this deployment, and then they're going to be accepting volunteers or volunteering people from other units to go on this particular deployment. So it works like that. Or it could work this way where you're actually looking forward to go on this deployment and you really, really want to go, and Johnny Snot knows from another unit knows somebody that will afford them an opportunity or a favor. And next thing you know, you're getting bumped off of that mission, right, for that deployment because Johnny Snotnose got the hookup. And I've also seen that happen, right? So, and another token too is, let's say you're in a unit that doesn't typically get deployed often or at all. If you genuinely want to get deployed, it is an option, right? We have tour of duty, right, which is a military that as long as you have your military CAC, which is your military or Army ID card, in other words, you can log on to that website and look for potential deployments overseas with other units within your state or across the country. And if they accept you, you'll be temporarily assigned to that unit, and you can go on that deployment, come back, and go right back to your old unit of assignment. So that's pretty much how deployments work in a nutshell. But yeah, so it's not optional, but it can be optional in some unique circumstances. So good question. Moving right along to so I'm not sure if this person is talking about active duty, but I'm going to address the active duty one. Well, I'll address this one really. So Spencer Kazura. All right. So when you're finished with AIT, whether you're active duty or guard or reserve, you're going to go to your first duty station. So what happens is, if you're guard or reserve, you're going to go home and you have to report to your unit within 72 hours. If you're in the guard, you're going to report to your RSP site, the Recruit Sustainment Program site, and check in with them so that you can out-process, conduct your next available drill with the RSP before you are introduced and in process with your actual unit of assignment that you contracted into at time of contract or enlistment. Now, if you're active duty, you're going to graduate from AIT and go straight to your first duty station. During COVID, right, until those restrictions are lifted, you're going to wait for sterile transportation to be scheduled and coordinated and go directly to your unit. There's no more, even though it may be in your contract, they may offer you and put it in your contract for HRAP, Hometown Recruiting Assistant Program. At this time, during COVID, although it's in your contract, they will not allow you to conduct HRAP, right, until those restrictions are lifted. So it may or may not be in your contract, but if it is, it will only be authorized if and when COVID restrictions are lifted. Other than that, like I said, you're going straight to the unit of assignment. Then from there, your unit will have you apply through their leave or vacation, essentially is what it's called, leave, right? You'll apply for leave for how many days they will authorize you to exercise that right. Okay. So
I'm gonna piggyback off of you. So during the height of COVID, it's like a lot of the AIT graduates, they were holdovers. So it took them like 2 to 3 months to actually get to their first duty station.
Yeah, that was like worst case scenario.
So what I've been hearing is that on the East Coast specifically, a lot of guys, they ended up at Fort Drum or they ended up at Fort Bragg. So that's essentially what happened. And for leave, it's like they only give you like 10 days as when you actually get there. So that's basically how I'm hearing it.
All right. Yeah, definitely. So at the height of COVID, yeah, it was taking some active duty soldiers nearly 3 months to get to their first duty station. But for guard and reserve, you're going straight home, right? They'll send you right on commercial flights and you're going home. There's no waiting around. But when you're active duty, they got to schedule and coordinate sterile transportation to avoid that quarantine time. But at that point, if it was going to take 3 months, in my opinion, just send them however they need to get there and whatever. But that was above our pay grade. But I believe this question was posted when Haley was talking about studying for the ASVAB. They want to know which ASVAB study guide you were studying. Haley? Today, Junior.
What's that? Oh.
Yeah, it's you, man. That's for you.
All right, hello.
Yeah, all right.
All right, we good. My bad. What was the question?
Say again.
What was the question? Oh, that's the question. Which ASVAB study?
Yeah, did you study to eventually pass the ASVAB? Because you said that you were struggling and you finally made it.
Yes. So for me, how my journey worked out was, it was me and another person. Her and I were studying together at one point because we both took the ASVAB at the same time, and we both didn't pass. So we just took the time to study together, and then this was right before I linked up with Drill Sergeant Schwartz. And then when I met him, like I had a couple of booklets, like study guides to look over. Had some help with tutoring, so that also helped out, especially if you're not, because everybody learns differently. Everybody has different ways of learning. I personally cannot do it on my own. Like I need a tutor or I need somebody to help break down information in order for me to understand. So with the help of other service members and looking at YouTube videos with that, that helped out big time. So there are like a plethora of study guides or information that you can use to study, or even with somebody. If you have to pay somebody to tutor you, then so be it. If that's what you need to, better your life so that you can pass a test and do great, then that's what you got to do. So there's multiple ways of doing it. So that's how I came about doing it in order to pass the ASVAB. And I felt comfortable because when I took the ASVAB, before I even finished, like deep down inside, I felt like, like this is it right here. So, and then once I found out my score, that was it. I called Drill Sergeant Schwartz and I was like, yo, you already know what time it is.
Say
finally
less.
passed.
I got you.
Yeah, and and that was it. So you got put the work in, study, keep studying, never give up, and it'll work out in your favor. Whatever you got to do, just do it.
There you go. Juliana wants to know how Fort Jackson is. and why they're called Relaxing Jackson. I don't think that they're Relaxing Jackson. I did my AIT there as a human resources specialist, back then as an administrative assistant. It's hot during the day, cold at night. Not necessarily cold, but it's like a 20-degree difference from daytime to nighttime. But PT for me was intense. I felt like the discipline standards were definitely lacking, and I think that's where they get the Relaxing Jackson from. But that was just my experience. Anybody else have anything to add to that?
So I'm gonna add on that. When I went to the AIT, there was some guys actually from the Jackson. Why they call it Jackson Relaxing? I went to the basic training, and halfway through there was a COVID. So those who went to the Jackson, they even didn't have the shark attacks. Uh, like, or now they call it like first 100 yards, something like that. And plus, they were getting like their phones all the time and all that. There was like that type of differences between Portland with where I went, basically. And because of that, they were calling, like in my AIT, they were saying Jackson Relaxing, but everybody has their own like story about Fort Jackson, and that's pretty much like, I guess, one of them.
Yeah, and you also got to think like there are multiple units in Fort Jackson, all of them, all those TRADOC places. There's a plethora of units. Each unit has a way of doing their own thing. Like everybody doesn't conduct PT the same exact way. All the units are different. So some units are more chill than others. Some units are more like strict on PT than others. So it all depends on like what unit you're attached to, really, when you're at basic. So I mean, why is it known for Relaxing Jackson? That's the answer to your question. Or some units are relaxing more than others. So that's as plain as it can be. And I mean, with you, drill sergeant, I mean, your time compared to our time, it's a whole different, time frame. So things change. When things change, obviously it's not the same. So, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, 100%. Then 25 Bravo for Jimenez. Where was that AIT located? Fort Gordon, right?
Sorry, it's like playing with my charger a bit. Okay, so what's it called? It doesn't matter. Well, to go off on what we were saying about Fort Jackson, I believe it doesn't matter like where you go, you're gonna receive the same type of intense training. Like everyone, everyone has like the pride of where they come from. So there's always gonna be like, this little thing. Oh, I went here for basics, so it's harder. No, it wasn't that hard. Everyone's gonna have their own thing to say. But when I was in AIT, I went to Fort Gordon in Augusta, Georgia. It's a military base focused on everything that comes with information technology and cyber. And I had people from every basic there. Um, I went to Fort Sill, and there was not that many people who went to basic in Fort Sill. I think a lot of people go to either Fort Jackson or Fort Benning, and if you're gonna go to Fort Gordon, you're gonna be there for a long time. You're gonna have to get very comfortable. Um, I was there. I was there for like 5 months, so I was like gone. I was like gone for like 7 months away from home, and but the pay was great. Like I said, like going to like basic training and AIT, it's like a mental restart of life, and you since you're there, you don't spend money on anything, but you learn a lot, you gain a lot, of camaraderie. Augusta is a beautiful, beautiful city. It was nice to be in Georgia, and no matter where you go, and no matter what like military installation you go to, there's always going to be some suck, and there's always going to be some awesomeness, and like you always got to be prepared. You always got to have like if it's cold outside in Georgia, like it gets cold. It gets cold, especially around the end of December. In January and February, it was really, really cold. But like when I first got there, it was blazing hot. So it's a great Fort Gordon is a great place to go AIT, and if you ever go off post, it's great, and even on post, it's a nice installation. I had a lot of fun there.
All right, let me scroll back up. All right, so I'll answer this one real quick. The difference between getting treated by your drill sergeants and basic training versus AIT is basic. We micromanage every little detail of your day, teaching you everything, right? And as basic training goes on, you'll earn more and more privileges. But in the beginning, we're micromanaging every little detail. Like, don't think for yourself. We will do it for you. But towards the end, we're going to be leveraging more of the student leadership to carry out the task, but we're on you like white on rice. Now in AIT, they pretty much march you back and forth from class, chow, and they'll take care of putting out fires, any issues that you may have or arise in the evening after school. And it's more chill in the AIT environment. But yeah, it's definitely not as intense as basic training or OSUT for sure. Abrar, you want to talk about how hard you felt that 68 Whiskey School was?
Hey, sorry. Yes, I can talk about 68 Whiskey School. So, as I've said before, prior to enlisting, I had no medical background whatsoever. My degree is in political science. It's a bachelor in arts, and I only took a bio class, and that was years ago before I enlisted as a 68 Whiskey. So, I mean, it's difficult. It's it's a lot of skills that you have to learn very quickly. Um, and 68 Whiskey School is divided into two phases. The first phase being EMT phase, and the second phase being whiskey phase. And the first phase is where you basically learn very quickly the ins and outs of basic biology. You'll be learning about the systems of the body. You'll be learning how to perform skills as an EMT, because at the end of this EMT phase, you'll be taking a test called the NREMT, which certifies you nationally as an EMT, EMT Basic. So with this certification, once you achieve it, you go on to whiskey phase, where you take what you learned from EMT phase, and you also learn life-saving skills like putting on a tourniquet, chest seal, and one of the more difficult skills like a surgical crike, which is basically an advanced airway skill where you basically cut an incision into the cricothyroid membrane of the neck, and then you insert an airway into that hole that you just cut in, and basically you provide ventilation through that airway that you just created. It's hard, but at the same time, if you're driven enough, and that goes for anything in life, if you're driven enough, you can do it. I certainly can do it. I didn't think that I was able to, but you have a bunch of resources there available to you, and the drill sergeants definitely facilitate study time for whiskey phase. You can practice your skills on each other. I think you learn some of the very cool things, like you give each other IVs and stuff like that. You're basically able to learn skills that would allow you to operate independently in the field, as potentially the only medical care that your soldiers will have. So, in short, 60 whiskey school is hard, but it is doable.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Again, ROTC is a college level thing, all right, that has nothing to do with us. But if you're not going to go to college to go to ROTC to commission, you can leverage the OCS option, the Officer Candidate School Program. There is the Federal Directship, the National Guard's Traditional State OCS, and the National Guard's State Accelerated Program. I did a video on it. I'll post it in the comment chat box now if you want to go check that out. And that'll break it down to you and those different options and restrictions and whatnot. Yes, you are definitely going to continue to do PT and AIT, 100%. All right. You get paid to work out every single day. Let's see. As a 31-year-old, will they treat me any different at basic training compared to anyone else? Nope. Age is just a number unless you make it a big deal. They don't care if you're 31 or 17. You act like trash, you're going to get treated like trash. And if you mess up, everyone's going to pay for it, 100%. So this person, JMax, says, which obstacles was or were the hardest for the majority of the trainees? Anyone else who has not spoken yet want to tune in?
I'm gonna say this. The hardest thing is for them to actually adapt within that first 3 days or within that first week, because a lot of these kids are 17 to 20 and they haven't been away from home for their very first time. And a lot of these kids, they join right after high school. So adapting in red phase is probably the hardest part for them.
I'd like to add reception. Reception was it felt the longest. I was there from Monday to Friday, and I feel like that 4 or 5 days was longer than basic itself. That and getting used to sleeping in the woods. That was probably, I had to dig my hole and I had to sleep there. And you wake up and you see ants and spiders, and you're like, what the hell? So that was the biggest challenge for me.
Yeah. So I think the hardest or the most common injury in basic training is stress fractures in the shins and the hips. So acclimating your body to working out every day, so getting to a basic level of physical fitness is definitely going to be your top priority from the moment you decide that you're going to start exploring the opportunity of joining, right? So start walking long distances, work your way up to jogging every other day. If you look at my video down in the basic training mini series, I have a video called How to Prepare for Army Basic Training. And in it, Staff Sergeant Chichera provided a beginner program where 1 month is a lot of walking and rucking or hiking in civilian terms. And then the second month is an introduction to running. I also have some dialogue in the video where I share my input at an intermediate, more advanced beginner running routine that will pretty much marry up with what you'll experience in a basic training setting. But, getting yourself acclimated to working out. So working on your running is a huge, huge thing, and your core. Everything else you'll do at basic training. It is designed for everyone to pass the minimum standards. Everyone's going to have to pass the Army Combat Fitness Test, which is the new PT test that is going to be going back live for record starting 1 March of 2022. There may be some changes, but as of right now, I posted the video link down below in the comment section, pinned to the top. Check it out. Find out what your minimum standards are going to be, which is moderate for everybody. But, just get used to doing push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and running every other day, right? Just get to your basic level of fitness before leaving. Let's see. So I'll take this one real quick. How can you get airborne school in the National Guard? You don't, unless your state actually has an airborne unit. There's no way that we're going to put that in your contract. That's like an active duty, possibly Army Reserve contract option, but it's definitely not in the National Guard. So if you're in the National Guard in a state that does not, if they offer it to you while you're at the training site, say less. Make sure you jump on that opportunity, because you're probably not going to get that again unless you win Soldier of the Year, whatever they call it here in the States. Anyone know what it's called? I forgot what it's called. Best warrior
I think it's like
competition or something. Ironside. Okay.
yes, yeah. So reserve and guard, best warrior competition. That's how you get airborne school and ranger school. But for the guard specifically, if you're not Green Beret, then you're not gonna be airborne. Active duty guys, we get airborne. Like we can basically put a packet to go, or if you have a contract for it, if you go active
Right.
duty.
Yeah, so I know they initiated a program a few years back with Airborne where they were offering it to our soldiers at the training site. He wasn't with me tonight. He couldn't make it, but I've had 2 people in the last 12 months. One was an infantry soldier and the other one was a supply soldier, and they both completed Airborne school, and they were offered it at the training site. So just make sure that you have your highest PT score possible, because they're only going to offer it to the best of the best, or the la creme of la creme, or whatever they say, right? So make sure you do your best on PT.
I can piggyback on that one. With us on the infantry side, if you are good at your PT and you're doing everything you're supposed to do, we will offer you Ranger School. And by going to Ranger School, you will get your airborne tab. All right. So that's a way to get it for airborne if you want to do it that way.
Yeah, you know Specialist Ryan, well now Sergeant Ryan, right?
Starter Ryan, yes.
Yeah, he was the very first New York Army National Guard soldier that was offered airborne at the training site.
Yes.
Accepted it. Then they offered him Ranger School. He went through the pre-qual and Ranger School without failing, not once. So he like, not only did he complete the program, but he didn't get recycled or anything. Like, that was unheard of at the time.
Yes.
So yeah,
He
he's a beast.
also would have won Best Warrior for NCO if he didn't lose his map.
If it what?
His map, but he did good.
He lost his map?
Yeah.
No bueno.
No bueno.
Oh yeah, that guy is an animal, man.
He's an animal.
For real. He's like literally the poster child. Got the chiseled jaw and everything.
Yes. Poster child for the 69th Infantry.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see. Jay says 92 golf, serious question. How long do you go over how to teach you omelets? I don't know if that's a real serious question or what, but
Yeah, but I'll answer. They don't actually go over on teaching you how to make an omelet. Like for me, essentially, if you are an active duty soldier, like I am right now, they teach you in the garrison environment, but they will teach you how to flip an egg. That's all I can say. That's honestly like it's easy. Like I'll tell you right now, you just flip it. That's it.
all right. Andrea Munoz asks 88 Mike AIT location.
88 my AIT location is going to be at Fort Leonard Wood. It's most of the time you get stationed for the basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, and you go to the AIT right away after completing the basic training, like right next day.
Yep. Now, it's been a minute since I went. I know we did not have our own rooms in AIT. We share at least 2 others, right?
When I went to AIT, I had 2 roommates, and then midway through, one got recycled. I just got stuck with 1 roommate.
You got lucky. I had 6 roommates.
So,
yeah, so you're never gonna have your own room.
On this question, I'm gonna also say that you never get the room by yourself, because some soldiers, they can go through something and they don't want them to be in their rooms by themselves. So that's why we call it battle buddy system, and your battle buddy actually can take care of you if something happens to you in that room. So at least 2 people or 3 in one room.
So for this one, I'll address real quick. So when you go to MEPS, if you're shipping out of MEPS, not direct ship, where you're just shipping from your home directly to the training site, you'll report to MEPS. They'll conduct a height and weight pregnancy test for females. You'll receive your shipper's packet, a shipper's briefing, and you will typically go in groups of 3 to 5. One person will usually typically carry all the files, and you will travel together to your training location. So that's that. Here's one for Casado.
All right, let me read this. 35. Chuka. All right. So, for Chuka, I had a great experience. It's a small base, but I think out of everybody all my friends that left from basic, I think Arizona, we had the most freedom. I was allowed off base, off post, and I just had to come back at a certain time so I can go out, I can eat, I can go bowling. As long as you didn't do any drugs or consume alcohol, you were okay. On the weekends, you were literally free. You wake up at whatever time you want. You go to bed at whatever time you want. That was probably the most best thing ever. When I came out of basic, I didn't know how to think for myself, and then when I got to Arizona, I kind of got to acclimate back to the civilian world due to that. The school, it was intense. So Monday through Friday, I wasn't texting anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just wanted to do my work, do the homework, and then go to bed. What opportunities can your training clearance afford you? So the security clearance that you get is like, let's say you want to be FBI or CIA, you need that security clearance, and you getting that from the Army, it's already a check mark off. The only thing is, as a 35 Fox, for you to really get anything out of it, you need to go on a deployment. That's when you really do your job. If you never get deployed, then you're not really to your best potential yet. That's what I would say.
Not getting like that total experience.
You need to be deployed to actually start, because that's when you start receiving information and you start doing what you're trained for.
Right, exactly. And there's another one that piggybacks off of that. This guy was a 35 Lima looking to come in as a 35 Fox, wants to know what you do during Joe weekends, which I know you just got assigned to your unit. I don't know if you completed your drill yet, but
so I only did one drill. And funny thing is, I'm the only 35.
he's a fresh boot.
Yeah, I'm the only 35 Fox in the whole battalion, so I do not know what they expect from me. I don't know what's gonna be what I have to do, but I am learning a lot about the like 25 Bravos and 25 uniform. I'm mostly with them, but as soon as I start doing some things, I'll let Sergeant Joe Sergeant know, and he'll inform everybody.
And Jimenez has something to say.
So going back to that security clearance, that's a step up in your resume. Even in the civilian world, there's like having a security clearance does not only apply to the Army. You can literally take it like into the civilian world to do like just as he said, you could go to the FBI, you can go in even into like places where they do research and development because you know by the military standards you are cleared. Um, a security clearance alone, like I know someone personally who started out as an infantry soldier. He reclassed to become a signal soldier, and then now he works for GE. And because he has a TS, which is a top secret, he does research. He works in a secured environment, um, allowing like the people who work at GE to do their research and development. But in order for him to obtain that job, he needed a top a top secret security clearance, and he makes like over 120,000 a year. So if you like, and security clearances alone are expensive, and the fact that the Army just does it for you, like out of necessity, it's a big plus that I feel is rarely talked about.
Yeah. So with a lot of the MOSs in the military, you have to understand that the military invests a crap ton of money into you. And depending on your MOS, that's a lot of certificates that would normally cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Like a top secret or even a secret clearance is definitely going to cost you over $6,000 as a civilian. That is often comes out of your pocket unless the company is willing to pay for it, right? But if you or I are going before somebody and you have a secret clearance or higher, and the company can save $6,000 to $10,000 by hiring you because you have it because you're in the Army, they're going to hire you over me, where they would have to spend money. Does that make sense? So that's how you leverage and market yourself so you are more competitive in the workforce when applying for civilian positions or even of other government agencies. So yeah, thanks for sharing. Somebody else wanted to say something. I think I cut them off. All right, cool. All right, so the next one I'll take is from Neil. Once you get your MOS and ASVAB as you want, what are the job slots like? So I'm not really understanding your question, but basically you have to take the ASVAB test. We'll look at other criteria that will weed out opportunities like driver's licenses, citizenship, financial history, law violations, medical conditions, and so on and so forth. And depending on all that, we will list the jobs for you. But if you go into the pinned comment down below, I have a video about jobs. Click on that, and that'll give you more insights and a better or a longer explanation for you. For this one, it's like any MOS. The better you are at what you do, the more effort you put into it. Right? Strive for perfection and settle on excellence. So if you're always pushing yourself every single day, you're going to go places. But if you have that minimalist type mentality, that's not my job, or I'm just going to do the bare minimum with that mindset, right? It's like a lot of people in today, this world is filled with mediocre people. There are so many people that want to be a millionaire with minimum wage work ethic, right? So you can't expect to be a millionaire if you're working at a minimum wage mentality. So you have to put in the effort, put in the work, do more than is expected of you, and eventually you'll earn the rank and get paid more than you actually do, right? It's just, that's how life is. So what you put into it, just like anything in life, whether it's college, your work life, in the military, what you put into it is what you get out of this. All right. So that's just food for thought. Anybody else want to add something to that?
Yeah, I'll add to it, Drill Sarge. So basically, on getting promoted, it's like what I'm just gonna piggyback off what you said. It's definitely being right place, right time, right uniform. Don't be that average Joe. Ask for, if you want to go ADVON, rear schools, anything to make you look better, to stand out. We'll be like, hey, well, Joe Schmo is doing all this. He's late for formation every day, but then we have Jane Doe over here, she's on time, she's punctual, she's volunteering, she's doing this. Once you get your name out there, they're just gonna start picking you up for everything, and they're gonna be like, all right, who's on the list for BLC? All right, we're picking her up. This guy isn't it. So basically, just put yourself out there and earn everything, earn every rank. Everything you do is just gonna better your life, whether it's in the civilian world or the military world. I'm telling you, right place, right time, right uniform, right attitude, and you'll move up the ranks quicker than you would even know. It goes by like that.
Yep. Try to learn everything within your MOS, right? Do things outside of your MOS. When you're at drill, volunteer for all this stupid, tedious details. Like some people, especially the ones that have been in the unit for a while, might look at you as if you're a brown noser. Hey, be a brown noser, right? If they tell you to clean the bathrooms and all you got to do is wipe the sinks and the toilets, great. Now you're going to wipe the toilets. We're going to wipe the basin, the top, the bottom. You're going to sweep, mop. You're going to freaking dust off everything. You're going to wipe off the mirrors. You're going to leave that place and go above and beyond so that when it does come to time where, like, you know, a full-time job becomes available, or an opportunity comes available, or a special school comes up or something, they're going to know that you went above and beyond all the time. And even when you think that nobody's paying attention to you, the right people hear or know what it is that you're doing and the type of work ethic that you have, and that you're volunteering your time to learn new things, to go above and beyond. And those are the opportunities that will be afforded to those who put in the effort. The minimalist people that find a hole in the wall and hide all drill weekend, or make excuses to do other things or whatnot, those people will not be afforded additional opportunities that you will eventually be afforded to. So go above and beyond in everything that you do, like Stats Sergeant said. So just do your best and forget the rest. Go ahead, Jimenez.
So to piggyback off like everything that was just said, you know, even like honestly, like one of the best things that the National Guards provide is an immense like immense group of people that you can network with. Like you know, my example is like right now I do my job as a civilian. I work for the National Guard, and I don't show up in uniform at all. But the person that was hiring was my company commander, and he just simply put out, okay, I need someone to fill this position. Who can fill it out? and simply because of always volunteering, or even if it's military and I'm like, and then it's for a civilian job, because I made a name for myself at my unit. They knew this was the guy who knows this. This was the guy who's always does that. It offered me opportunities, not only inside my unit but also outside, which because even like, let's say, you as a 92 Alpha, you do your job as a unit, and let's say, like, your unit cannot provide you any opportunities at the moment. There's always going to be someone looking. There's always going to be somebody, hey, my job's hiring, and I like how you work. I know you. I could work with you. Would you want to work with me? And from there, it just begins, and like your network starts to grow, and thus you become to grow as a person professionally. And honestly, like, it's never hurt anybody to work hard sometimes.
Yep. So we are right around that 2-hour mark. And if you guys want to leave or whatever, I appreciate you guys coming on here and spending 2 hours with me. I'm going to keep going. And if you want to stick around, I'd be more than happy to have you. I'm going to keep going. But if you have other things to do or you got to go, feel free to go. Don't let me, hold you up. I appreciate you volunteering your time to come on here and share your wealth of knowledge and experience. All right.
Joe, before I do go, is there any more 35 Foxtrot questions?
Let me
I know
scroll.
it's rare to get a 35 Fox. So just wanna, before I head out.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any more 35 series questions so far.
Yeah, son, is there more questions about 92 golf or nah?
No, I think that was just Nadia. Yeah, there's a conversation going on in here, but I'm not seeing.
I didn't see any 68 whiskey questions, but Sergeant, I just want to let you know that in the future, if you wanted to do a more in-depth 68 whiskey session, I'd be more than happy to help you out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I do have to leave. I got put back on the COVID mission, so I got to wake up early tomorrow. I appreciate you for having me here on this panel, and I'm glad I could share my insight on my MOS. And I'll be more than happy to do it in the future if you're doing so.
Yeah, definitely. I plan on doing a Gardex every month.
All right. Cool. All right.
Have a
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Thank you for having me. And if any more questions just pop up, just feel free to ask, and I'll answer them at a later time.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate you. And with their approval, they'll send me their Instagram handle or social media preference of you reaching out to them, and you can feel free to reach out to them directly and get your questions answered that way if they're okay with that.
Have a good night.
All right, good night for those who are cutting out. But if you want to stick around, appreciate you.
All right, thank you guys so much for having me. I might be here in the next one, but you guys have a good night.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Menace. Anybody else want to pop smoke?
Hey, son, is there like a possible way where like you could actually do a video like around Chinatown and then I could be like speaking Chinese and stuff like that? Is it possible we could do that as like a guard soldier and then, that type of thing?
You mean like FaceTime walking around Chinatown?
Nah, it's like you doing a vlog and then it's be like a day in the life and then I could show the other side of what I did when I was in the guard.
Oh, you mean when you're here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do something like that when you come back.
All right. It's the Chinese New Year anyway, so I'll be back.
All right, man. Have a good night. Appreciate you.
All right.
All right, take care. All right. We Gucci? All right. So let's keep going. So we'll do more of a rapid fire thing, kind of get through these as quick as possible. Some of the what do you call it? We spent some extra time on some of these questions that were pretty simple. But I do want to address it for those who are here. For Brandito Santa Cruz, sounds like he's an active duty guy. Says that his friends are saying, he's basically saying all of his National Guards want out of the Guard, right? So when people like this tell you what you should be doing with your life, whether it's a good idea or not, you have to figure out and dig deep on what you feel is important for yourself. People like Brandito here, you know, everyone has something to say. So that's why I tell people all the time, figure out your why, figure out what are your deal breakers, what are your goals, and how is that branch of the military going to help you get there, whether it's National Guard, active duty, because he's giving you his opinion based on his mindset and what's important to him, and what may be important to him may not be important to you, and vice versa. So that's why, yeah, it's okay to get people's opinion, but at the end of the day, it's what's best for you, for your reasons and your reasons alone, whether I tell you that it's the next best thing since sliced bread or anyone else, right? So that's why it's very important to do your homework and do your research in everything else that I just previously stated. So for Neil, don't worry about what he's saying. Take it with a grain of salt. Do your homework, do your research, and do you, boo-boo. All right. So, yes, D Bushy Bearded. Can recruiters reserve jobs for prior service before going to MEPS to re-enlist? Yes. So if you're going Guard, yes, we are going to lock in an MOS or a vacancy, and you're going to know what you're going to get unless you fail something during the medical. So we have to find you a vacancy, either a valid vacancy, meaning no other soldiers sitting in that slot, or get approval to put you into an excess slot, meaning it's somebody else is the primary person holding the slot, but we can put up to 125% strength against the unit. So for this one, for Scuba Colossus, I'm 16, looking to join, even though it's against my family wishes. I have college prospects with GPA 3.7. Love your input and don't see myself going to college. If I knew then what I knew now, I would probably say that go to college or a trade school, but do something, right? But you don't need a degree to start your own business or anything, although learning business might help you with that. But college is not the end all be all. I didn't find out what I wanted to study until I was 39 years old. Okay. This year. So I'm finally studying, going to college, pursuing my passion, which is communications and media, social media and stuff like that, and content creation, videography, and all that good stuff. So I would definitely suggest that you do you. And I did a video that would help you get your parents on board with you, and that's going to involve your recruiter. So that video is actually in the pinned comment. So I implore you to go check it out, and you can direct message me on Instagram if anything. And Neil, if it's your dream to be in the Army National Guard, go for it. Don't worry about what the naysayers say. You do you. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through the comments looking for an actual question. Here we go. This goes for everyone. Do you see yourself doing a whole 20 years?
Yes, I'm already halfway through, so there's no need for me to quit now. Full 20 is 100% it for me. I get to retire when I'm 39 from what the pension is from there. So 100%, the double dipping on that one too with NYPD will be 45 for me. So there's 2 pensions by the time I hit 45. So I'm definitely staying in for the full 20.
I'm thinking also to stay 20 years. I'm trying to hit either E9, which is Sergeant Major, or If I'm gonna finish up my bachelor's degree, I might go officers. But right now, I'm also on active duty with the National Guard. I'm working with Sergeant Schwartz at the recruiting station, and I'm just helping out to them. So I feel like I'm gonna go recruiting path because I like the job. I like helping out people. I like talking to people. So I might stay up like Sergeant Schwartz for 20 years in the recruiting, but you never know. So everything in the future.
All right. So for Saneville, obviously there's no AIT for 11 Bravo, but if you were a split op, like a high school junior, college student, or seasonal worker, you're just going to go to the tail end of OSUT of 11 Bravo. So so just so you know, like at the 10-week mark, you're going to have a turning green ceremony where you signify that you've met the basic training requirements, right? At the 10-week mark, typically you have a family day and a 30-minute ceremony. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then if you end up going back to do the AIT portion of OSUT, which is your MOS specific training for 11 Bravo or 11 Charlie, then you'll do that, right?
That is correct. AIT, so the OSET, the second part of the basic training part was more weapons and field wise. So you'll learn how to shoot the Mark 19, the 50 cal, the 249, and all of that. It wasn't basic training is more M4, the M4 carbine. When you go to AIT, it's more of the actual infantry, more shooting, more learning patrol base and field training. So you have that 14-day field training. So you're outside learning how to dig holes, hooches, and stuff like that. It was fun.
All right. So we got a question here from Fufu Boy 7. Not really sure what he meant in the beginning, but basically he wanted to know if any of you had experienced discrimination or racism, because that's what they're being reluctant on joining. They just want to know if you had experienced it and how did you handle it, if anything.
You're gonna experience it. Maybe for me, I experienced it during my basic training portion. Remember, this is the early years of everybody's adolescence. So you have the 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds in there. So they don't really know. They're from different parts of the country. So you're gonna get guys. I got guys, about 10 guys, I want to say, that never seen a black person before. So you're gonna run into that. A lot of them are from these areas that all they know is what they see on TV. So they're gonna treat you as such. But throughout the rest of it, it is a brotherhood and a sisterhood that the Army goes by. They're gonna start intertwining. They're like, oh my God, this is how you really are. And it's up to you in that sense to teach them that this is not what the stereotype that the TV is depicting is not what we really are. And they really understand that. Some of them really do understand that, and it starts changing. When you go into your units, then you're going to have the actual courses. So we have our equal opportunity courses and everything. So it really lessens down very much.
Yep, 100%. Anybody else have anything to add to that? So we have zero tolerance for sexism, racism, discrimination, equal opportunity. If you're caught in violation of either one of those, there's procedures and policies in place that will protect you and assist you and punish those who are violating that said policy. So listen, we are the melting pot of any organization. We are the most diverse group that you will ever meet. And like he said, I feel like a lot of the issues that may arise in your experience would probably be during your initial entry training, where, like he said, somebody from like Wichita, Kansas, maybe never even seen a black person before and might be like inappropriately asking a question, can I touch your face? Because they want to touch you and feel your skin or something crazy like that, right? Like just the ignorance of not being exposed to that. Like one of the things that I feel that a lot of people take for granted here in New York City is because every walk of life is here, right? But some people don't experience it. Like in my hometown, for example, we had one Mexican family and one black family. So we had a total of 5 minorities in our high school of 103 students in my graduating class. And like, it didn't bother me at all. I was raised properly, but for some people, they've never seen somebody outside of their race or culture for that matter. And you know, the Army does a pretty good job at incorporating everyone's diverse cultures and stuff like that. So I don't think you have too much to worry about. Now, are there instances in the news that you see all the time? Yes, and those are being dealt with. Some weren't handled properly, and again, it is being dealt with, and zero tolerance for all that type of stuff. So Neil, I have a basic training packing list. It's in the basic training miniseries link that I posted in the pinned comment if you want to go check that out. But I go through everything. Bare minimum, which is basically your 3 to 4 documents that you bring with you. That is the minimum, and then suggested items, and then essential items. So definitely go check out that video. You really don't need to bring anything with you, but I have suggested items for various reasons. Oh, here's one. Oh, never mind. I thought that was a question. I was like, oh, we finally got a 13 Bravo series question. It's like I get them any other time, but when I finally have somebody here, crickets. Yeah, I was a National Guard soldier too that got sniper qualified. We've been racking in a lot of the tournaments in the last few years. You noticed that, right?
Yes, we have.
Active duty
National
like to
Guard
talk
has
all that
been the
trash,
top.
man.
Yeah, National Guard's been in the top in Ranger schools, top in snipers, top in pretty much everything.
Yep. It's like active duty, where you at, man?
Jocelyn, just to piggyback off of this for the sniper school, I got selected for the New York Army National Guard endurance team, and I go down for my time trials in January to see if I can go and cash in a 2-year contract with the team and travel and just do races for 2 years. So
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
females are definitely making a step in the right direction.
That's what I'm talking about. And when you do make it, let me know so we could do a video about it when you're all done.
Oh, of course, of course.
Hell yeah. I'll take this question. Can you switch your MOS? So once you contract, that's your MOS. Now, in the middle of your contract, typically after the 2-year mark, because most units want you to be in that MOS for 2 years before they'll entertain any type of reclass to a new MOS and or unit. So as long as the losing commander and the gaining commander are okay with switching your MOS and or your unit, then yes, it could happen. Worst case scenario, you'll have to wait until the end of your contract and negotiate that with your retention NCO or your battalion career counselor. If and then that does not work out in your favor, absolute worst case scenario, you could leave the Army National Guard ETS or discharge and then reapply through the recruiting command and ultimately get what you want, providing that that opportunity is available to you, if that makes sense. So how does a National Guard not really sure what they're asking, but we follow the orders to our commander in chief. So if our governor activates us for a specific mission for either one of those that you just stated, then that's what we're doing. Everything from filling up sandbags, conducting search and rescue missions, deliver food, water, supplies, personnel, medical attention. You know, let's say there's a riot, you know, riot control, that type of stuff. So we do it all in the National Guard, or we can do it all. So, Fufu Boy, yes, if you are offered Ranger School in AIT or even basic training, you will complete all your initial entry training before going on to any specialty schools. Here's a good question. When you're in the Guard on your free days, do you have to ask for permission to unit to leave the state or overseas, for example, vacation?
So you have your weekend a month, so anything past that. So if it's not Saturdays, Sundays, not your drill dates, then you can literally go anywhere. When it comes to your secret clearance, and if you're trying to get a secret clearance, that's when you want to watch exactly where you're going. That's gonna might hinder you from getting a clearance at that point. Vacations, I've literally been throughout the whole Caribbean and Europe on my time off, so it's perfectly fine. If anybody else has anything to add to that.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as it doesn't conflict with your drill schedule, you don't have to ask for permission, but it would be in your best interest to let your leadership know where you're going and how long you're going to be gone. So that way, after that date comes and goes and you are not responsive in responding to your unit or missed drill or whatnot, they know that you were at XYZ country or location, and they can make the necessary call on what they should do to, address that situation, if that makes sense. So God forbid something happens, and at least they're aware.
So in my unit, what I was told, let's say if you want to go to a different country, you have to fill up some paperwork. I don't know what type of form is that, but over there you're just gonna sign that you're gonna be back by this time. They started doing that because the COVID started, and a lot of people actually went to a different country and didn't come back for the next drill because all of the borders were closed. But like otherwise, you don't have to ask the permission.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're probably talking about a counseling form. Yeah, you're just putting it on paper that you understand the do's and the don'ts and the expectations.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see. Yeah, don't worry about being 27 years old. You're not too old until you're too old. 100%. That's all I gotta say. I'll address this one. Is there any way someone could retake the ASVAB and change MOS after basic training? Yes. So you'll go through the education center at the nearest location where you live. You sometimes have to get like a letter of approval from your commander to authorize you to take the ASVAB test over again. And then, as previously described, if you were listening earlier, you can reclass at that appropriate time. And yes, the National Guard and Reserve follow the same part-time military service retirement requirements. Here we go. This one's for you, Sergeant Shabelli. 13 series. What are drill weekends like? From Adrian Sadlow.
So drill weekends are like fun, especially when we're in the field. So now that my unit's up at Camp Smith, we actually get time on the howitzers, which we actually can perform crew duty drills. So report time usually 6, formation 6:30. We're out in the field. Yes, we sleep in the field. We're field artillery, so you got to get used to being in the elements. Just like everybody says, if it's not raining, we're not training. Expect the worst. Have your A bag always with snacks, extra portable chargers, because we stay in the field and we're out there. So that's we usually have 2 days a month, sometimes 3 days. Lately it's been 2 days. We got to let a lot of hands on. AT, we get to live fire, so we get to make a lot of things rock out there up at Fort Drum. That's 2 weeks. It's just awesome being in the field. It's a lot of yelling. It's a lot of fast pace. It's just awesome being a 13 Bravo. It's really awesome.
I was in a field artillery company when I first enlisted, and I had a blast. I cross-trained and everything.
Yeah, it's just so much fun because you could just yell. All you're doing is really just yelling at people all day, and it's awesome. It's a great brotherhood, and now that we've like integrated the females into it, it's just all around an awesome battery to be in. Great camaraderie. Everyone has each other's back. Drilling weekends is like where it's at. That's where like I find home at.
Now we just need a female NCO to step up in the infantry so we can put some females in the unit, bro.
I'll talk to you offline about that.
Sounds good. Man, I can't wait till we open that door up. But we got the lieutenant. We need a E6, I believe. Let's see. This person said high blood pressure. Yes, if you have high blood pressure and it's not below the threshold that MEPS deems as high, then you'll be disqualified. So I would suggest taking garlic pills, drinking excessive amount of water, like a gallon a day, and obviously losing weight will definitely and significantly help with your blood pressure. And yeah, so now for a person who feel like their conversational skills in English isn't on point, mix it up, right? 15 minutes listening to a TV show with the subtitles, reading a book for 15 minutes and looking up words that you don't know, and forcing yourself out of your comfort zone. Typically, most foreigners will stick in an area that has a lot of people that speak that same language, and they don't speak to people in English. So purposefully every day for 50-30 minutes a day, talk to somebody in English, and that's how you're going to get better. But that's my advice for you. But I wouldn't even worry about it. As long as you can pass the ASVAB and you can understand what's being told to you, and whatever you need to say gets delivered and the other person understands you, you're good to go. It'll get better as time goes on.
Hey, Sergeant. I have some stuff to do, so I'm just gonna leave the live section.
All right, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah. All right,
See you
guys.
tomorrow.
So if you guys need any help, you can talk to the Sergeant Schwartz. If you guys need some like tutoring information, ASVAB study, some stuff like, and you need my Instagram, he has it, and you can just ask him, and I can help you guys out also.
All right, appreciate it.
Peace out, guys.
Take care. Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night, Sergeant. Everybody, have a good night.
Good night.
So we're actually nearing the end. I can see the last comment already. So for those of you that are in here for this question, for NCOs, does going to leadership courses count as part of your annual training? Basically, I think that's going to be up to the unit.
It's very much up to the unit whether or not they want to count it or not. Understood that some BLC is about 3 weeks, ALC depending on your MOS, how long that is, but your unit is going to be the deciding factor.
There's no concrete way for it. Like if you're in a unique position where you're the only person or you're the leader of that group, then chances are you're going to be going to annual training. So there are other questions, but not pertaining to you two. I can address this one. For Goose Juice, is there any way of getting a waiver and staying in the military after getting a general discharge? So we go by the discharge packet. So the general discharge is one part of it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be more than likely under honorable conditions. So we're going to look at the narrative reason for separation and your SBD code. And as long as your re-enlistment code is not an RE4, at least an RE3 or below, like RE1 through RE3, then you're pretty much good to go. But the narrative reason for separation is what's going to determine whether or not you're going to be eligible for an admin waiver. So yeah. So, all right. So that's it. I don't see any more 13 series or 11 series questions for y'all or other drill related questions. So I'm going to wrap up the stream. I appreciate you two coming on and everyone else. And I was hoping to get more people on here, honestly, but But I do appreciate you guys taking the time to come on here and share your insights with them.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Joseph.
Appreciate it. Have a good night. Take care.
Take care.
Peace. All right, so everyone else that is here, I appreciate you coming on here. Thank you so much for asking your questions. Next week will be a normal, typical live stream where I'll be addressing all the questions and everything, but I wanted to do something a little bit different and add more value to you guys to give you an inside look instead of me expressing it, coming it from straight from the soldiers' mouths, from their mouths to your ears. So again, appreciate you all coming on here tonight. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can always direct message me on Instagram at Team Swartz. If I did not get to your question because it was unrelating to the National Guard, MOS, or drill weekends, obviously I didn't address most of them. And again, if it's important to you, direct message me on Instagram and I'll be more than happy to respond to you within the next couple of days. So I appreciate y'all. And I will see you same time next week on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate y'all. Sergeant Swartz signing out. And I'll see you next week. Take care. Stay blessed. Be good. And dominate your day.